resort or something, in their mind.
Well, maybe some of them have already made it into a resort and haven't caused us any problem.
I don't know. It just seems to me that it would be a very good idea to have a strong defense as a just-in-case, type of fallback.
The problem with carrying arms is the temptation to use them. And I personally think that the world is much worse off because we spend such a large proportion of our income on military might. And it's self-defeating because when the United States stepped up their military expenditures, then the Russians said, well, we're going to have to do the same. And the Chinese said, we're going to have to do the same. And when they start talking about building an anti-ballistic missile system, then the Russians say we've got to retaliate in some way, and it's never ending. And what we really want is an unwinding in the opposite direction, to get rid of these weapons of mass destruction that could obliterate the planet, and to change our priorities, and to have enough financial resources to replace our aging infrastructure, that worn out water pipes and bridges and all of the things that have to be replaced that are past their best use dates. And you can't do both. You can't put both at top priority. You have to make one the priority or the other. And I just say we've been following the wrong priorities, and it would be good if we really if we spent more time on the quality of life and less on fighting each other and provoking other people to change their priorities to meet ours.
Let's go to Jim, truck driving in Maine. You're up. Hey, Jim.
Hey, George. Good shit up, brother. How you been?
There you go.
Hey, I just wanted to say, I'm a firm believer in the Bible. Now, I know that this gentleman's a little skeptical of it, and the Bible says that in the last days there'll be scoffers saying, when is this appearing? When's he coming back? Now, I just wondered, sir, do you believe that the ETs could be God and his angels coming back, or what do you think about that?
I think some of them could be. I don't know, but I know that some of them have qualities that would put them in that sort of general category.
There is a camp out there, Paul, as you know, that believes that they are either demonic forces or very spiritual forces. Who knows? Again, I tend to think that they're from other planetary systems, but it is a pretty provocative theory, isn't it?
Well, there's no doubt that they're from other planetary systems. So they come from a number of places, as you probably well know, and I think that that most of them want to do good by us, to be good to friends and neighbors, and to help us, and some of them may indeed be angels or bearers of, or guardian angels or whatever. I really don't know. I personally believe in the guardian angel, and I should say I don't want to give the impression that I don't believe in the Bible. It's just that I don't take a lot of the prophecies literally in the same way that some interpreters do, because I think maybe they're constructing things about them that may or may not be relevant. But I think there are some principles there, and it's certainly a great read, best read I've ever had.
Let's go to David in Ontario. Lots of Ontario callers today, Paul. I wonder why. Because you're on.
I didn't think anybody in Ontario stayed up this late.
Oh, they do in droves. Go ahead, David.
Yes, I'm surprised that I got on. I've been waiting 50 minutes here just hanging on, listening to you guys. But with respect to Paul Hellyer, it's a great honor to speak to you. Which administration were you defense minister under?
Pearson.
Under Pearson, mm-hmm. Okay. I'm just wondering, going back to your first premise, there's so many questions I'd like to ask you, but we'll go back to your first premise about global warming.
Mm-hmm.
Do you not consider that global warming is a natural phenomenon that is occurring? are no predictions in Revelations I can think of that are saying that the world's going to heat up and the ice caps are going to melt, et cetera, et cetera.
No, but the fact is it is. And in my book, I admit that some of the global warming may be from sunspots and so on, because it is true that Jupiter, for example, or Mars, I guess it is heating up a little bit. But we can't do anything about that. What we can do is what we are responsible for, and we are responsible for the majority of global warming. And I don't know if you saw the front page of the Globe and Mail 3 or 4 days ago, but they had the graphs of about 10 different criteria that the air temperature worldwide, the water temperature worldwide, the ice caps declining worldwide, every single criteria that was measured by 300 scientists was released in the report from the United States. I forget the exact public agency last week, and every single one of them showed disaster in their trends for 30 years. In other words, if it just keeps on going, we're in deep, deep trouble. And I would say that it was absolutely convincing. And there was, if you didn't see it, it was last week sometime. I'd try and get a copy of it. Front page, about 10 graphs, every single one of them showing the trend worldwide for the last 30 years, and it was, I would say, irrefutable. And then it was, of course, to offset some of the propaganda that we've been getting from the oil companies, who have been meticulously doing to us the same kind of thing that the tobacco companies did for so many years. They had evidence that showed that nicotine was carcinogenic, but they hid it, and they kept saying that the science wasn't complete, that it wasn't absolutely totally reliable. In the meantime, a lot of people got lung cancer and so on, and it took a lot of work to smoke the truth out of them. And the same thing is happening now with the oil lobby, trying to just cause enough confusion in people's minds that they say, well, maybe it isn't as serious as it sounds, and we don't need to really face any alarm. But if you look at that data, why you'd say to yourself, hey, this is real and it is really urgent, and let's get on with it and stop monkeying around.
Let's go to Anchorage, Alaska. Joe, you got a few minutes here. Go ahead, Joe.
Hi.
Hi.
This is Joe in Anchorage at 650 KNI, and I'd like to talk about the global warming and also about renewable energy. The global warming is how come in Anchorage for the last 3 months we've been cloudy and rainy, and my barometer says fair, but the humidity is way up there. Is someone trying to keep the cool weather from going down to the lower 48? And my second thing is about renewable energy is we could put many people to work with things like taking your fruits and your vegetables, putting them in like garbage cans, and having it picked up on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and like the dumpsters do, taking it and having it crushed and have energy fuel coming from that.
Well, you're right, Joe. We could do a far better job with renewable energy like that. There was a plant in Carthage, Missouri years ago, and I don't think they're in business anymore, but they used to take, Paul, scraps of turkeys, and they would make fuel from turkey carcasses and stuff like that. But that's not happening anymore. In terms of the weather, I don't know what's going on. I know in St. Louis, the humidity has been outrageous in the week I've been here. It's probably that way all over the place right now. Paul, we're running out of time. I want to thank you for being on the show. Light at the end of the tunnel. Again, it's available where, Mr. Hellyer?
It's available from Amazon, probably Barnes & Nobles. I think any bookstore could order it for you from Author House of U.S., who do the publishing and printing.
Thank you, Paul. Always a pleasure talking with you. You take care. For Dan Galanti, Tom Danheiser, Lisa Lyon, Lex Lonehood, Sean Ladesseur, Stephanie Smith, Ross Mitchell, George Knapp, Ian Punnett, and Art Bell, I'm George Norrie, somewhere out there on Coast to Coast AM. We'll see you on our next edition. Until then, be safe, everyone.